I've been to a lot of anime and gaming conventions, but this time I'm at Lvl Up Expo in Las Vegas. I don't think I'm in Sweden anymore, Toto. Lvl Up Expo is a gigantic convention. In 2023, more than 100,000 geeks gathered at the Las Vegas Convention Center over 3 days. It's full of people and activities, and also special guests, competitions, and a lot more. But I'm not just here to look at all the flashy stuff and have fun. I'm also gonna ask myself, in what way is this convention different from conventions in Sweden and Europe? Sweden in particular has a much more subdued geek scene. The conventions generally have fewer people and slightly less of a commercial focus. There's still a lot of geek merchandise at Swedish conventions, of course, but this is more. More bombastic, more commercial, and just more in general. But first, let me give you some more info about the Lvl Up Expo convention. Lvl Up Expo is a non-profit gaming and anime convention that covers a lot of different things. Esports, anime, comics, cosplay, gaming, among other things. The convention started in 2013 and it's held every year in Las Vegas. In 2013, 1,000 people attended the show, but it quickly grew to tens of thousands of people. Every year since 2018, it's been held at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and in 2023, it celebrated its 10-year anniversary. According to their website, 102,000 people attended the event in 2023, which is a massive increase in visitors compared to just a few years ago. How many people are here in 2024? Well, it's too early to say because it's just starting up, but it's huge, that's for sure. What are you doing here at the expo? Are you looking for new Sith or something like that?
I'm looking for new recruits for the Sith Order.
Have you found any promising ones so far?
Mainly Jedi so far. No Sith yet.
Are you gonna end any of those Jedis?
I will hunt down any Jedi who stand in my way.
I would run if I was that guy in white back there.
I would appear so, yes.
I'm not an expert when it comes to geek conventions, but I've been to a few. Mostly in Sweden, of course, but also in Germany and the UK. Aside from the ones in Sweden, I've also been to, for example, London Anime and Gaming Con and Comic Con Liverpool. One very noticeable difference between Lvl Up Expo and those conventions is the size. I'm not sure if there are more people here, but the convention center itself is so much bigger, and there are more sellers, and it might be a bit more commercial. The layout itself is actually really good, and there's a lot of space for people to move around. The lines to all the food items are pretty bad, but then again, it's like that at every convention. There's a lot of kids at the convention, of course, but there's also a lot of adults. More than in Sweden, I think. I mean, percentage-wise. Of course, there's a lot of adults here compared to in Sweden. America is a big place.
Hi there, I'm Richard from Critical Care Comics. At Critical Care Comics, we dress up like superheroes and deliver comic books and toys to kids in hospitals.
Wow, that's really nice. And you guys are dressed up as well here as superheroes?
Yeah, today we're dressed up as the Avengers. If you look behind me here, you've got Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and many Spider people, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, and Miles Morales, all here today to protect the con.
But no Spider-Ham.
No Spider-Ham today. I'm sure we'll find one somewhere.
Is there a lot of interest for both the characters and for the charity?
Tons of interest today in looking at the costumes, but it's always interesting to find out who is interested in joining our cause, because 100% run by volunteers. Nobody gets paid to do the work that we do. So we're always looking for volunteers and donations to keep our mission alive.
I like Swedish conventions. They're quite small compared to the ones in the US or even the rest of Europe. And they have a different feeling as well. They're often more focused on social activities and not just commercial aspects. That's not true for all Swedish conventions though. NärCon is very much a social event, while Comic-Con and Sci-Fi World are much more commercial. And DreamHack is completely different. It targets gamers and a different demographic from the anime geeks. It's also much more filled with sponsors and companies trying to drum up excitement for their products. Lvl Up Expo isn't like DreamHack, and it's not exactly like Con Stockholm or Comic-Con Liverpool either, but it's not as different as I thought it was gonna be. There seems to be a very thriving group of geeks here as well that also focus on social aspects. The differences are more subtle, I think. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what is different, but there is a difference compared to European cons. I was gonna mention that it's a little bit weird to see the US Army at Lvl Up Expo, but then I remembered that I think I've seen the Swedish Army at Con Stockholm. I'm not sure what the deal is with all the cars, but this is America after all, so... There's also pro wrestling at Lvl Up Expo, for some reason. What does pro wrestling have to do with geeky stuff? Well, absolutely nothing at all, but I love it either way. Pro wrestling could be the quintessential American pastime, or at least it would be if you added beer and guns as well. What's Las Vegas famous for? Except for gambling and excessive events and shows. It's famous for parties, of course, and Lvl Up Expo has an after party where you can get sloshed with other geeks. Now that's something that's completely different from Swedish conventions that are completely sober. Sweden is actually quite exceptional when it comes to creating a safe space for minors. As a non-minor, I like having parties as part of the geekiness though, so that's something I would like to see more of in Sweden. I saw that you have a sign on your back, Cosplay Medic. Have you helped out a lot of people?
Yeah, if people need my help with like a button or something that's fallen off, I have my threads, I have my hot glue gun right here, and I just help them with whatever.
That's so convenient. Nice. Public service.
Yeah, man. As long as people are having fun, and if I need to fix anything that falls off, I'm happy to help.
I love the Pikachu costume.
Okay, thank you.
Have you been to Lvl Up Expo before?
Yeah, I've been joining since 2018.
What do you think is best about the convention?
I gotta say it's the people, the community themselves, you know, the cosplay, just everybody really. We're all going to other previous conventions for like work-wise. You know, you could feel the environment a little different, but here Lvl Up, everybody's kind to each other. We all share the same love for anime, even though maybe different type of animes, but still the same thing. And yeah, just love the community, man.
Lvl Up Expo is bigger, but not that much bigger. I expected it to be crowded and full of people everywhere, but it's quite manageable. I expected everyone to be much more extroverted as well, since it's America, but I guess there are introverted geeks everywhere. Is it a different mentality when it comes to purchasing geek items? No, I don't really think so. It's exactly the same in Swedish conventions. People are buying all kinds of stuff. Something that strikes me is that it might be a little bit better organized than European cons, a little bit more professional. And there might also be a bit more mature people here, which brings me to a hypothesis. Apart from the sheer size of Lvl Up Expo, something that could make the convention different from the ones in Sweden in particular is that the US has a history of conventions. The first comic book convention in the US was held in 1964, and San Diego Comic-Con started in 1970. There's a vast history of conventions in the US compared to Sweden and Europe. Geek fandom here has had time to mature, or maybe not exactly matured. It's had time to become normalized instead. Geek culture is still growing in Sweden. When I grew up, we still had geeks and nerds compared to normal people. We don't have that in the younger generation. For them, games and anime and geek culture is all a normal part of life. Anime has been part of US culture much longer than in Sweden. Here, people watch Dragon Ball and Naruto and Sailor Moon, while people in Sweden watched imported budget cartoons from Czechoslovakia. People here grew up with Inuyasha and Ranma, while kids in Sweden saw badly dubbed episodes of Star Singer. So maybe Sweden is still growing up when it comes to geek culture. So you're carrying a suspicious sign here. How many takers have you had so far?
I think I've had three.
That was not what I expected, but fair enough. Good on you. How do you feel at the Lvl Up Expo?
I feel great. It's nice.
Almost invincible.
Yes. Invincible for sure.
I've heard from a trusted geek source from Texas that Swedish conventions are similar to how US conventions were decades ago. So maybe this is the future for Sweden and Europe as well. Maybe we're doomed to lose the small familiar feeling of NärCon and Con Stockholm as today's generation grows up. But I don't really think so, and it's not just a matter of scale or maturity. I think that the cultural differences between Sweden and the US means that the conventions will end up different. Sweden is a more introverted country, even compared to US introverted geeks. Sweden is also a much more collectivist culture compared to the US. The love for all things geek is what unites us, but I think that we might continue to unite in slightly different ways. The US is big and bombastic and will aim for more of everything. And that might mean that the US values growth more than the consequences of selling out. Maybe it's not worth injecting too much commercial spirit into an event, and maybe it's worth focusing a lot more on social activities. That's what I hope that people will ask themselves in Europe and in Sweden in particular as geek culture continues to grow. Maybe we'll see that conventions like NärCon in Sweden will continue to be different from conventions in the US. Lvl Up Expo is an amazing convention and I'm loving every second of it. And it's actually much more similar to European conventions than I thought it would be. I prefer the smaller NärCon in Sweden, but I can appreciate this as well. And there's no reason we can't have both. I hope that anime and gaming continues to grow and that we'll let each country's cultural flavor give each convention a slightly different feel. And that's about it for this quick look at the differences between Lvl Up Expo in Las Vegas and conventions in Europe and Sweden in particular. I hope you found it interesting. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day.